So let me explain our concept for today, and it'll be moving the spine in different directions. So we'll take a little sample for a second. One way we can go is flexion extension. So that's cat-cow. Do that a couple of times. And then another way we can go is side bend, which is also called lateral flexion extension. So it's one side and then the other side. Take a few of those. And we'll be doing all of these directions in many different positions. And then come back to center. And then we've got twist. So just take a twist one side, and I twist the other side. Do a few more of those. And you'll likely notice on your body for the two-sided things, one side feels different than the other. You'll have a different range of motion. Yeah. And then let's pause in the center. And this last one isn't really a movement, it's called axial extension, which is extending the spine along its axis. So just from where you're sitting, give yourself a little wobble for a second to give yourself a nice solid base. And then think of just growing the spine long from the crown of the head to the tailbone. Yeah. And this, think like mountain pose, downward facing dog. There's a few other ones where we would want this axial extension. So let's keep that for a moment. Let your eyes close, let your face relax, and just take a few conscious breaths. See if you can be just fully present for the next 3 breath cycles. Take hands to heart center. And just allow your chin to drop, your head to bow down. Blink your eyes open. And we'll return the head to center here. Let's release the arms and stretch out the legs for a second. And just give the feet and the ankles a little circle. And then the other direction. Yes. So we'll take some of these spinal movements laying down on your back, and we won't use them right away, but if you do have the props for later, just have them handy so you can set them up. And we'll come lying down here with the knees bent and the feet on the floor. And imagine your pelvis were the face of a clock. And we'll start moving between 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. So, and it doesn't have to be a huge movement. In fact, it'll probably be pretty small. And what we're doing here is creating a little bit of flexion and extension in the lowest part of the spine. And yes, the pelvis is moving too. You might also feel a little bit of a weight shift going on in your feet or even further up the spine. And then let's let the movement pause. So you're just right in the middle. And without letting the legs move, let your pelvis now tilt between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock. And if you're finding that the legs are swaying from side to side, make your movement smaller in the pelvis. And here too, it's very teeny tiny, but we've got a little bit of a twist going on. And then let's pause, just right in the middle. And now can you slide the right half of the pelvis down away from your head and let the left side slide up towards your head. So here we have our lateral flexion and extension, and then switch to the other side. Here too, you'll probably find one side moves very easily and the other one gets a little stuck. And just take this one a couple of times, like a little salsa dance on your back. And then here too, let's pause just right in the middle. Do one more that's very small movement. Let's go back to your 12 o'clock position. And now you'll go through all the numbers on the clock. So 1, 2, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Just make this circle here going all the way around. And you'll see when we make this circle, it's kind of a combination of the three. So we've got the twist, the lateral, and the flexion extension. Notice if there's any number that's getting skipped, and just really tune in there. See if you can go through all the numbers on your clock face, even if the clock is really tiny. It could be a watch. And let's go the other direction with the circles. Okay, so I'll let the movement settle here. Just pause right in the middle and find what feels like neutral to you in your pelvis. And then let's hold the spine, the pelvis, the whole torso still. Lift your limbs. So the legs lift, the arms lift. Let's keep the knees just softly bent. And now to create a little stability here without moving anything else, just take the right arm wide and then center. And then the left arm, same thing. Now this will be a little harder. Let's take just the right leg, and it likely won't go too far without tipping over. And center. And then the left leg. And center. Now feel free to experiment with any and all of those. So you could move an arm and a leg at the same time. You could go forward back instead of out to the side. You could try right arm, left leg. You could draw a circle. So try a couple things here. And let the part of you that's still be as important as the part that's moving. So without letting the spine wobble and roll. Yeah. All right, let's take a little break from that. Just bring the knees into the chest for a second. Take a little bit of movement. Now, if that felt interesting and you want to challenge yourself a little bit, we'll repeat the same exercise, but on your props. So I'm going to show on blocks. You could have blocks. You could have just a pillow, anything that creates a little height. Yeah. And if it's a no-go or if you don't have anything, you'll repeat the same thing again just on your mat. Now, because we're elevated, let's hold on to your head, let's say just with the left arm for now. Yeah, and then you'll lift the legs. Now, if you're on the foam roller, I would keep an arm down on the floor because it's pretty treacherous here rolling around. And then let's just, if you're not on the foam roller, you can lift the right arm. Try taking the right arm wide and center. I'm going to fall. And then keep the left hand holding the head. Try taking the right leg wide. And then the left leg wide. Holy moly. And then maybe do that again. Maybe do your circles. Maybe do a forward and back. Yeah, it's exciting here on the props, isn't it? Now, if you're holding your head with the left hand, let's change so the other arm gets a chance. Yeah. All right, friends. So stay up there if you're on your props, and let's just pause one more time in the starting position. Yeah, that's it. All right, lower the legs down, and then just very gently come off of your stuff. Let's push it out of the way, and just lay down on your back, however is comfortable. You'll take a breath in and a breath out. And then let's stretch the arms up overhead. And just give yourself a little bit of a stretch here through the abdomen. Okay, so in a second we'll come up to sit. You could just get there, or you could do a little rock and roll a couple of times. And when you do come up to sit, I'll invite you to sit this way, but if it's a no-go, you'll just sit cross-legged. If you're able to be on one knee down in a virasana position and then the other leg up kind of like a squat, try that. If it doesn't work out, you might try sitting on something. Yeah, that's it, right? And if it still doesn't work out, just sit cross-legged. It doesn't matter what side you're on. Now from here, let's first create that axial extension through the spine. Yeah, great. All right, and then take the arms just outward, and let's create our flexion and our extension. So this one's like cat-cow, and I'm using my arms for emphasis. You could keep doing that, or you could have the hands just resting on the legs. Now keep going with the flexion and extension, but let's try a few rounds leaning slightly forward. And then let's try a few rounds a little more upright. So that gets more into the upper part of the spine. Yeah, and just again, let the arms move however they want to. Let's pause here with the arms in their up position. And now we'll do our lateral flexion and extension, so our side bends. Now here I'm touching the floor as I go over. You could try that. You could try a few with no hands. Yeah. Now we're going to play with this a little bit. Keep going with your side to side. And again, let the torso just lean slightly forward as you're going. Yeah. And you can reach the arms in different positions. And then try it a little more upright. Like you're reaching for something that's too high. Great. And then let's pause, and now we'll take our twist. So turn, if you're in this position, turn towards the leg that's up. And then back to center, and then turn to the leg that's down. Yeah. Great. And keep doing this back and forth. You can also play with the speed. So you might take a few, like slow, and hold it for a second, or you can just do more of a quick back and forth. Yeah, I think it feels so good to move like this. And then let's keep going and try, maybe one arm pulls a little more forward. It's a little bit of a lean there. Or you could try a little, even leaning back slightly. All right, and then let's pause. Just come back to the center and create the axial extension. Yeah. Okay. So we're going to change legs. If you're doing this version, just change the one that's up and the one that's down. If you're in cross-legged, change which leg is in front. Yeah. Feel free to sit on a block if you need. Myrna, the top leg, it doesn't cross over it. It kind of goes to the side. So like if you're in a squat, it would be this, and it's just one leg down, one leg up. Yeah, that's it. All right, so first create your axial extension, find the length, and then we'll do our cat-cow. Flexion, extension here. Yeah. And maybe the arms are on the legs. Maybe the arms help emphasize your movement. Yes. And then let's pause in the middle. Reach your arms up overhead. And now we'll do our side bend. So one side, and other side. And take a few of those. Maybe you try a few touching the floor. Maybe you try a few with no hands. And just like we did on the other side, try a few lean slightly forward. How does that feel? And then try a few little more upright, like you're reaching for something up there on the top shelf. Yeah. And then let's pause. Whatever leg is either the up leg or the in front leg, let's twist towards that leg. And then undo and go to the other side. That's it. And then we'll just alternate sides here. You can play with the speed. You can play with the angles. I'm going to take a few leaning forward. You might take a few leaning back. Yes, this direction is not as twisty for me as the first time. All right, and then let's pause and find the axial extension. Just lengthen the spine along its axis. Just pause for a second. Breath in. And a breath out. Okay, so let's reconvene here. Hands and knees position, all fours. And then just one leg at a time. Let's reach a leg back, toes tucked under, and just give yourself a little movement there. And the other side. Yeah, great. And then let's pause here, just 2 knees down, all fours, and start to move through your classic cat-cow. So here we are, our flexion extension on our hands and knees. And let's pause, and we'll take some side bends. So let's do this one with the breath. You'll breathe in. And then on the exhale, slide your rib cage to the right and turn the head to look left, and the tailbone will go left. Inhale just to middle. Exhale, other side, rib slide left. Inhale to middle. Take that a few times. It's pretty slow movement here. You might be able to stretch it out a little bit so that you get, oh yeah, all into all those little nooks and crannies. Now let's keep going, but we'll change it to inhale one side, exhale the other. So it'll be a little quicker transition. Doesn't matter which side is the inhale or the exhale. Great. Let's pause and just take child's pose for a second. Bring the hips back, arms forward, and go up onto your fingertips so that the wrists get a little break. And then we'll take our twist. So come back up to center here. And this one is very small. We're going to isolate it mostly for the upper, the thoracic spine. So you breathe in. On the exhale, bend the right elbow and turn the head left. But the elbow likely won't touch the floor. Inhale to center. Exhale, bend the left elbow, turn the head right. Inhale to center. And do that a couple more times. We'll come back to center one more time, child's pose. Let's have the toes tucked under for this one. And then go up again onto your fingertips just for a second. Try to squeeze the mat with your fingers and engage the muscles in the hands when you do that. All right, we'll set the hands back down. Let's come up and back into downward facing dog. And likely the legs will be a little tight here, so you can pedal out, you can bend and straighten the knees. Now let's keep doing that, the pedal with the legs, and then let there also be a movement in the pelvis. So if you imagine like in a cartoon, the sexy lady in the cartoon, she moves her hips like this, do that. Yes, Clay and Brian. All right. And then keep doing that as the feet start to walk forward. And that hip movement is making a twist in the lower spine. Yeah, so eventually the feet will come to the hands, or you'll just kind of cheat your way there. Let's bend the knees and separate your feet. Prop up so the forearms are on the thighs. You're in this squat sort of position. Move the pelvis back, move the chest forward. Create that axial extension here through the spine. And then we'll twist. Just pick a direction, turn to one side, lift up the arm. And then down. And then the other side, we create a lift. And down. Let's take one more of each. And down. Let's root into the legs. Inhale all the way up. Stretch the arms to the sky. And release the arms down just alongside you. Great. We made it to stand. So let's keep your kind of wide stance. Feet a little wider than you normally would stand. Bend your knees slightly here, and then just start to move your spine any way that you like, and let the arms come along for the ride. They'll just kind of dangle along. Yeah, and the head too. So as you're going, we're doing multi-directions, but let's emphasize now more of the twist. So let it be more rotational. That's it. And then let's change the emphasis more of the side bend. You could even take arms up overhead if you like. You could even lift a foot, toe off the floor if you like. That's it. All right. And now let's emphasize more the flexion and extension. So kind of that cat-cow. And then we're going to mix it up again. So come into just multi-directional spinal movements. We never move like this, do we? It's really good to do. Okay, friends, let that one settle down. All right, let's stay at the back of the mat. If you're not already there, go there. Keep your stance kind of wide. Inhale the arms up over your head. Exhale, we'll bend the knees, forearms to thighs. Inhale, turn to the right, open up for twist. Exhale down. Inhale to the left. Exhale down, hands to shins. Inhale, chest forward, axial extension, legs are straight. Exhale, bend the knees, let the back round. Inhale all the way up, arms to the sky. Exhale over to the right for a side bend, any version. Inhale to middle. Exhale to the left for a side bend. Inhale to middle, separate the arms. Exhale, just release the arms down alongside you. So do that whole pattern again. Inhale, we're up. Exhale, bend the knees, forearms on the thighs. We'll go left side first, twist. Inhale to open. Exhale to close. Inhale to the right, open. Exhale to close. Hands on the shins, come up halfway, axial extension. Exhale down, bend and round. Inhale all the way up, arms lift. Exhale to the left, side bend. Inhale to center. Exhale to the right, side bend. Inhale to center. Exhale, release the arms. Reset your stance so your feet are just right underneath you. We'll stay at the back of the mat here. Inhale, arms straight up overhead. Exhale, take it down, forward fold. You can bend the knees if you need to. Let's come up halfway, lengthen forward. And then we'll come down, walk the hands forward until you get to plank, and you can have the knees down if you need for plank. We're going to stay for a little bit. From your plank position, just for a second, let the chest sink a little towards the floor, and then try to pull the chest forward so that there's more room in the neck. Now press into the floor and lift. Yes, stay in your shape. Axial extension here, long line between tailbone and the crown of the head. Let's put the knees down on the floor, bend the elbows, and come down to the belly. And then once you're here on the belly, hands right underneath, right beside the ribs, lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor. And then from here, one side, one shoulder at a time, we'll do a little roll. The other side does a little roll. So do that a few times. And here as you're going along, think about it. We've got a little bit of a twist. We've got a little bit of side bend. And we've got a little bit of flexion, extension. More extension than flexion, but we've got them both a bit. All right, let's pause. And then keep the hands on the floor. Lift the front of the shoulders again. This is spinal extension. Don't move the hands. Try to pull the hands towards your feet and pull the chest forward. The upper back is very engaged. If you want more, you can lift the feet and the legs up off the floor. Great. All right, yogis, let's put the legs down. Press back, go to the knees for a second, child's pose. And then, how are you on the hands? Can we do another plank? Yes, let's do it. All right, so let's head back to plank pose, just where you wanted to go in summertime, right? Clear the shoulders, lift the belly. Tiny bend in the knees, and also tiny bend in the elbows, just a little bit. And now, within plank, can you do a little cat-cow? Flexion, extension. Oh yeah, it's pretty horrible, pretty horrible. And then pause, re-lengthen yourself, the legs too. And then slight side bend, just pick a side. And then other side bend. Yes, we'll save the twist for later. Let's come back to center and downward facing dog. And then let's, from down dog, just walk either feet to the hands or hands to the feet, forward fold. Bend the knees. On the inhale, come all the way up. Lift the arms, stretch the legs to straight. Yes, and release the arms. Oh, okay. All right, I know. Yeah, so here we go. Next, we'll take another round of the spinal movement standing, but slightly different. So let's keep just wherever you're standing, take the feet a little bit wider. And then one arm, just pick an arm, it'll slice up on the diagonal and you go into the big toe on the other side. It's a twist, and then change to the other side. Yeah. And make it like a reach as you twist. And then if you want to add on with these, feel free. You go up and then you go down and then up. So you create almost like a little, I don't play golf, but I imagine kind of a golf swing here. Yeah. Great. Yeah. Okay, and it never feels good to stop. So just when you feel complete here, maybe just slow the movement down a little bit and pause and take an arm rotation in and out a couple of times. Yeah, great. Okay, so let's actually head now to the front of the mat. If you have blocks, you might want them for the next thing. If you don't have them, you're fine. Also, we'll be on the knee. If you need any kind of padding, you can arrange that for yourself. So here we are in our mountain pose. Inhale, arms up, just straight up overhead. Exhale, down we go. Forward fold, maybe bending the knees. Come up halfway, inhaling, lengthen. On the way down, let's step the right leg back, knee down on the floor. You can have the toes tucked or flat, whatever you like. Yeah. And here's where you might want the padding under the back knee. You can always just fold the mat over a little if you need that. So let's come up here, hands to the hips. And we'll create a little stability first. Think of the back leg, the right leg. Send the inner groin back. And at the same time, lift up through the belly. Press the right shin downward. It likely won't actually touch the floor, but press it downward. And then put the hands on the top of the pelvis. Try to lift the rib cage up off of the pelvis. First, just creating some space in here. And then let's take the arms up overhead. Inhale. On the exhale, hinge forward. So axial extension. Bend the elbows like a skydiver position. And then inhale to return to center. Do that a few times. So the exhale is a little hinge and a pull back with the elbows. Inhale or back to center. Let's take it one more time. And then stay up in the center. And now we'll create our flexion and extension. So kind of the cat-cow. And it is quite awkward in this position. So you might find it's a smaller movement. You might find maybe it's more comfortable going a little higher. All right, and then let's pause, re-lengthen, inhale. On the exhale, turn your torso left. You can let the arms open here for a twist. Inhale to center. Exhale, turn the chest to the right, but leave the pelvis alone. Yeah, this side's a little tricky. Back to center. Take that one a few more times, and it doesn't have to be a straight up and down twist. So you could try leaning a little forward. You could experiment, kind of like we did when we were sitting. You could go diagonal. A little bit of balance in there. All right, guys, let's pause here, just coming back to center, 2 arms up. Grasp, take the left hand on the right forearm, pull up, and then over to the left for a little side bend. We'll just hold this one. We won't go back and forth. Okay, done with this part. Let's come back to center. Take the hands down on the floor or the blocks. Tuck your back toes under here. Lift the back knee. Pull the pelvis back. Pull the chest forward. Find the axial extension here. And on the left leg, press a little more firmly into the heel. Let's stretch the arms straight back. Lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor. And pretend somebody's pulling your fingertips back. All right, now to get out of this, let's undo, put the hands to the floor, go back to plank pose. Yeah, okay. Now, we're going to do plank with a twist. If you're still with me, separate your feet a little bit wider and drop the heels to the left. They could go all the way or just part of the way to the left. Yeah, plank with a twist. Yes, if you want to make it a little harder, you may or may not pick up the right hand and touch the left shoulder with the right hand. Yes, if you still want to make it harder, keep that and bring the right elbow tip to the left elbow crease. Okay, and that's enough for now. Let's come back to center. We'll do the other side in a second. Come back down all the way to the belly. And then let's fold up your hands, rest the forehead on the hands, bend your knees, and just give the legs a little swish from side to side. Just a little release here. And also this little swish is creating a twist through the lower spine. All right, you guys. Let's come back. Don't worry, we'll do the twist plank later. Come back just to down dog for a second. Okay, let's head to the front of the mat, feet forward, but stay low once you get there. And take just a halfway lift. Move the chest forward. And then we'll come down and set up other side for lunge. So left leg goes back. Have the knee down on the floor or any kind of padding. You could do what you want with the toes, doesn't matter here. And then up we come, just hands to the hips at first. Yep. On the back leg, let's send the inner groin back. At the same time, lift up through the belly and press down through the left shin. So it's kind of an up and down action at the same time. Yeah. And then let's take the arms up. Inhale. On the exhale, hinge forward, axial extension, bend the elbows, engage the upper back. Inhale to center. Do that a few more times. That's it. We're going to pause in the up position. Yeah? And now create the flexion, extension, so the cat-cow. And it's very awkward for the body, at least for my body here. So for me, it feels a little better to make it more, a little higher up in the back. You could try that. You could try different things. That's it. Let's pause just right in the middle. Inhale. Exhale, we'll turn to the right. You can let the arms open, twist. Inhale to center. Exhale, turn the chest to the left, but don't turn the pelvis so much. and then back to center. So take that a couple of times, and here you can experiment. You might do more of a lean. You could do more of a diagonal. It doesn't have to be the same every time. You could experiment too with the speed that you're going. All right, let's pause back to center. And then for our lateral flexion extension, we'll just hold. So pull up with the left arm and then over to the right side. Come back to center here. Let's reset the hands down. Tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee. Pull the pelvis back, the chest forward. Press a little more into the right heel. And then we'll stretch the arms back, lift the front of the shoulders away from the floor, pull the fingers towards the back of your mat. Okay, and then from here, we've got that plank variation. So let's put the hands down, step back to plank. And then if you want to try it here, you'll take the feet a little wider and you'll let the heels drop to the right. Now they could just do a little bit, or you could go all the way to the floor. So you're on the outer edge of one foot, the inner edge of the other. Now, if you want to add on, pick up the left hand and touch the right shoulder. If you still want to add on, take the left elbow tip to the right elbow crease. And that'll just be a little more twisty, a little more horrible. Let's undo, 2 hands down, reset, and then come rest on the belly again. Oh, yeah. Make a little pillow for your forehead. Let's take a little wiggle, just move the hips from side to side a couple of times. And then we'll take a brief child's pose from here. So let's press back. You can have the toes flat or tucked to your choice. Okay. So from the child's pose, we'll do kind of a big flexion extension movement in the spine. Walk the arms further forward, press into the floor, and then first round up through cat pose. Keep coming forward until the spine unravels and the chest pulls forward. And then you'll lift up through the belly. Go back. Let's go only about halfway back this time to child's pose. So that'll be our movement here. You'll round. And then let the spine extend here. And then you'll lift and round to go back. Just take a couple more of those. Now, if this is too large of a movement for you, just do cat-cow. It's basically an exaggerated cat-cow. And then let's take a little break in child's pose, whatever you want with the feet. If the hands need a little break, you could flip them over and curl the fingers, shake out the hands, whatever you need. Yeah. And then you'll just watch this next one for a second. And if it's too much, you'll repeat one of the other variations we've done. If you want to try it, from your down dog, you'll go really high on the feet and see how my head is pulled in. I want to round the back like cat. Stay around, round, 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 down until I get to plank. And then once I get to plank, I'll unround, but what I'm not going to do is go here. Yeah, so I just stay in plank. And then I go, to go back. Yeah? So if you're joining me for that, great. If you're doing the knees down version, do that one instead. Let's go to plank just to get there, and then downward dog or child's pose. Okay, now if you're coming to the straight-legged, let's go really high and lift the heels. Pull the head in, round the back, keep the belly lifted, and then come forward, forward, forward. Keep the head curled in, and then you'll unravel in plank. And then you'll lift up, up, up to go back, downward dog. Do that a few times. Right? Can you round more? Pull the head in. Yeah, drop the head. That's it. And then let's take one more time, whatever you're doing. Once you're back in down dog, let's separate your feet. Bend the knees, walk your hands to the feet, and just prop up forearms on the thighs. Yeah, take a breath in and a breath out. And then on the next inhale, come all the way up, lift the arms, lengthen out the legs. Give the wrists a few little circles as you bring the arms down. Yeah, great. And then let's keep the fingers on the front of the shoulders here and just make a few shoulder circles, little bat wings. And then we'll add on to this. Let's do one and the other and let the whole spine now come into a little bit of a twisty action. Yes, great. All right, and then let's let the movement settle. Just give the hands a little shake. Well done, you guys. And let's come down now to sit. So we'll sit like this with the legs forward but the knees bent. For the moment, just keep the hands behind you. And then press down into the hands to sit up nice and tall. Try to create that axial extension here. And then without letting any of this change, let go. If you're finding this is creating strain for the belly or the neck, just keep the hands down and work on the upright. If you're here with me, can you hinge back without rounding, without tucking in the pelvis? Just a hinge back. That's it. And then we come back up to center. Aha. Let's go again. And center. Now this last one will stay. We'll hold back. Don't change anything in the torso. Just bend the elbows and pull the hands back. Harder than it looks. And then stretch the arms out again. Let's do that a couple more times. That's it. Now let's hold in the arms back position. Tiny little rotations. Side to side to side to side. Doing it. And then just sit up, rest. Oh, okay. Well done. So next from here, just to open up the hip creases a little bit, a zigzag asana. So you'll let the knees drop right, and the left knee kind of comes down, so zigzag. Yeah. Right, bend the knees more so it's more of a 90-degree bend. That's it. And then watch here before we go. The right hand will go by the right hip. You'll go up onto the shins and lift the pelvis. So it looks like that. I've heard this called rock star pose. It's a funny name, yeah. So the knees and shins are down. That's it, yeah. And you get a little stretch in the front of the left hip. Okay, come down. Let's zigzag the other way. So just switch through the legs. Left hand to the floor, pelvis lifts, right arm comes up. Oh, yeah. Great. And then let's come back down. And we'll come all the way down now to your back. And we'll do a recheck with some of the movements in the pelvis that we did in the beginning of class. And we'll add on a few as well. Well, it feels good to lay down, doesn't it? Yeah, so let's start just small with our 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock. I mean, yeah, that's right. A little bit of flexion and extension here. And then pause. Let's do our 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock. And again, try to do it without letting the legs come along. They might shift a little bit, but they're not flopping from side to side. And then pause. Now let's just pick a side, one hip up towards your head, the other down towards your feet. And then change our lateral movements here. And that's it. And now let's come to neutral in the pelvis. And instead of the clock face that we did before, we'll do a different one here. So let's lift the hips, but not too high. Just lift them up off the floor. Let the pelvis slide slightly right. And then go down, but don't touch the floor. So almost, but not quite. And then slide the pelvis left. And then lift, slide to the right. Go down and slide to the left. So here we're drawing a circle in a different way. Let's take that a few times. And then just pause and reverse the direction. And we want this to feel easy in the body, easy in the low back. If it's creating strain, try by going smaller and don't lift as high. And if it's still creating strain, just give it a break. Just leave it out. All right, and then let's come back to center. Lower yourself down. Now we'll take the feet wide. Keep the knees bent. And arms can go out to the side. Let the knees drop over to the right. So now here we're doing kind of our 3 o'clock, 9 o'clock, but it's a larger movement and the legs are involved. To get back to center, can you move the left pelvis towards the floor to initiate? And then we come back up to the center. Yeah. And to go over to the left, just let yourself get there. And then draw the right pelvis to the floor to bring yourself back into center. So it's a little bit of abdominal work. Let's do that alternating. So the legs drop one side, and then the opposite pelvic half presses down to bring you up. Great. And then next time you return to middle, let's pause. Set up your feet so they're not quite so wide. And just for a second, bring the knees in and give yourself a little bit of a movement, anything you like. And then we'll set the feet down on the floor. Cross the right ankle over the left thigh for a figure 4 position. And then we'll pick up the left leg and hold somewhere on the leg. Yeah. So a few alignment pointers here. First is the right foot. Sometimes it wants to go on vacation. Can you press the sole of the foot outward towards the left and let both legs shift a teensy bit left, just a little bit. And now notice here, likely the low back is pressing into the floor and the tailbone is lifting. Can you go the other direction? So let the tailbone try to move towards the floor. It won't get all the way there. And then let the low back lift a little bit. That might give you a little more stretch in the hip. You can add in a tiny rock side to side if you wish. All right, and then let's release and change to the second side. So the left one will cross over. You can hold either behind the right thigh in front of the shin. Holy moly, this side's tight. Delayed reaction. And then on the left side, press out through the sole of the foot. Let both legs shift teensy bit right. Just, oh yeah, barely at all. And try to untuck the pelvis. Move the tailbone towards the floor. It's not going to get there. Just try not to curl it up towards the ceiling. And then untuck the pelvis so that the low back, there's a little space between the lumbar spine and the floor. Maybe add in a tiny side to side. Okay, and then let's undo. Release the legs. Take your hands for a second on the legs, close to the hip crease. Breathe in. And as you exhale, press. Hands into legs. Yeah, just to decompress a little bit. Inhale to back off. Let's go again. Exhale, press. And back off. Last one here, a little pressure. And then we'll back off. And we'll take the legs long on the floor, but go wide with the legs. Kind of like let's make the whole body in the letter X. So the arms come up above your head, wide arms. Yeah, you give a lot of space. We're doing a quickie side bend and then Shavasana. Slide the left leg to the right leg and the left hand to the right hand. So you're in a banana shape, side bend. And if this is enjoyable and you want a little extra, cross the left ankle over the right ankle. If that feels not so good for you, just keep the feet side by side. Now also, we don't want to go so far over that we start lifting the left side of the body. So if that's happening, back off a little bit. So the left shoulder and the left hip can stay down. And then let's recreate the X, arms and legs out. Take a breath. Notice if the two sides feel different. And then we'll slide the right leg to the left and the right arm to the left. And the whole right side of the body is now getting the stretch. This is my tighter side for sure. Maybe you cross the right ankle on top. Maybe you skip that part. And then whatever you've done, we'll undo. And just to do something symmetrical after that, just pause in neutral here. Keep the legs long, and you'll press the back of the heels into the floor and do a quick point and flex with the feet, so the whole body ends up taking a little jiggle up and down. Yeah. Brian, go a little faster so there's more of a jostle. It's like a, yeah, like like you're driving on a bumpy road. Mm-hmm. When social distancing is over, I'll come by and do it. I think it's more fun that way. All right, guys, let the movement settle and let's rest. Shavasana. If you're completely comfortable just as you are in your bath, stay. If you need to readjust or set up your props, take whatever you need here. Allow your body to be breathed. See if you can let go of any tension. One of the places we tend to hold tension in the face. So relax the face. Relax your shoulders, your neck. You can relax the belly. Begin to deepen your breath. Create a little bit of movement anywhere you'd like to move. Feels good to stretch. You might reach the arms. Maybe even just do a little side bend. Side. Eventually here, let your knees bend. Roll over to one side. We'll meet in a seated position. Take hands to heart center. Thank your own body for everything that it's able to do. Thank yourself for everything that you do. Namaste.